Welcome back, people. Inside the Process, episode 25 with a very, very special guest, Mr. Natty Cbum, Butcher Natural Physique, Northern Ireland's own Natural Cbum. But how are you, Butcher, mate?
Fantastic, mate. Thank you very much for having me on. I need to remind myself that this is inside the process and not beyond the process.
Yeah,
I'm saying
listen,
anything that I shouldn't. So
some of the questions we have are definitely beyond the process, but
okay,
we'll save that till the end. We'll get the inside the process
Yeah.
stuff done,
yeah,
and then
get
we
the
can.
serious
We
stuff.
should
Straight
run
to
the
the
inside the
topical.
process, no, the beyond the process back the weekend, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put a message in the group chat. See if
Yeah,
anyone's
'cause I'm free
available
on
this
Saturday.
weekend. Yeah. But to be fair, everyone's fucking podcasted out their mind these days, though. Like, there's
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
podcasts left, right, and centre. Butcher's never off them, so.
I was really contemplating coming on this one. Did I actually want to? Especially with sitting on posing calls all day. I was like, do I
Yeah.
actually want to have another conversation?
Don't have another conversation now, mate. Honestly, I don't even blame you.
Yeah, mate, CC podcasts when you're actually having, like, intellectual conversations, it fucking takes out of you sometimes.
I'll
Literally,
I'll finish a podcast and I'll chat about something in depth, something educational. I'll just mong out, like, won't be able to speak. So yeah, I had to accept the invite.
Yeah, thank you, mate. We appreciate you coming on. We're very much looking forward to this. But prep starts on Monday, which is very exciting. I feel that's actually a good time to get you on to chat
Yeah.
about that as well, which is very exciting. But I kind of wanted to dive into where's your head at going into prep, how are you feeling going into it, and just maybe the goals coming for this next prep.
So mentally, I feel like a lot better now than I did. I think towards like the back end of the pre-prep, I was starting to think, oh, have I actually made the improvements? Nobody looks their best towards the end of the pre-prep as well. Like you're not, the pre-prep's aggressive. Like you're not having high days. You're not trying to slow down the rate of loss, not trying to keep the physique looking fresh and full. And that's where my physique thrives. Like my physique needs to be full. It needs to have that shape. That's what makes it special and stand out. So I was kind of seeing my physique kind of like not fade away, but just get leaner, flatter. And I was like, oh, I'm not like overly happy with how I'm looking. And then the reversal came. I started with Tim as well. And the physique just started like coming to life more and more. And I was like, okay, here we go. So I feel like now heading into prep, I'm just like in a much better space than I was. And yeah, I just feel like very stress free. I think having the whole business to focus on has really helped me sort of like detach from the bodybuilding, but in a good way, where it's like I don't really need to think a huge amount about what I do. I just kind of tick the boxes, but I'm not stressing out. If I have to, for example, eat a meal when I'm on a podcast or eat a meal when I'm on a posing call, it has to be done. It's not the end of the world. Or if I have to push a meal a little bit further back, it's not the end of the world. It's more so just the stress of wanting to be better at business, the stress of making sure I've got my food prepped so that, if I do have calls all day, I might not have time to go and cook rice, cook chicken, go do a food shop. So from an organization perspective, I've been a lot better. And yeah, mentally feel fantastic now. And I think the shots that I took this morning, I was like, okay, for an off-season sort of endpoint, I'm buzzing with this. Like, yes, a little bit like blurred through the midsection. Quads aren't like completely diced, but it's the end of the off season. I know my physique actually changes very quick. It comes in pretty quickly as well. So, yeah, shots this morning I was really, really pleased with. Sent them to Tim. Tim was absolutely buzzing with them. And yeah, when you get that kind of confirmation from your coach where it's like, he's not somebody to kind of like blow smoke up your arse as well. Like when he says things aren't looking well, he'll let you know. But he was like, fuck, here we go. This is very good. So when he says that, that gives you a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Excites you in a way as well, innit?
What is it?
Excites you in a way as well, isn't it?
Oh,
Like,
mate, 100%. And like I
just that
said,
kind of bouncing off of it.
because I kind of detached myself a little bit from what I'm doing by
Yeah.
not being as invested, when you do that, get that kind of confirmation from your coach and you get that buzz, you're like, oh shit, like here we go. This is going to be
Yeah.
good. So
Nah,
it's
100%.
exciting.
Something you went over as well, like, see, having that balance of being busy, but also not being too busy, but it takes from your process. Because, mate, I've had clients where, again, obviously I coach kind of younger athletes as well, but 17, 18, where literally, maybe they're in summer, for example, they're dieting, but like they literally have fuck all to do. They're so bored and they just overthink everything. They're constantly thinking about the next meal, and then the diet is just, they struggle so much. So I definitely do think that actually being busy, having stuff to focus on, that obviously you're posing how busy you are with that, etc., which you're obviously going to, is actually a major, major blessing.
Yeah. I remember like where I was like towards the back end of uni, didn't have a part-time job, was just going to uni. And then I came out of that and I was like, all I think about is training. All I think about is bodybuilding, which is good because you have that passion for it. But
Yeah.
it becomes obsessive and it's all you can think about. And then you start putting so much pressure on your training sessions, start putting pressure on to get the meals in at the right time because you need 3 hours apart for an MPS spike. And you just realize it's not actually that deep. Like,
Yeah.
you can take a full step back. You know, it doesn't matter if I get a meal in at 3 hours or 3.5 hours. It really doesn't matter. But I think when you do have nothing else going for you and you're just so focused on bodybuilding, it's just going to lead to you burning out. You're just going to
Yeah.
resent the process. You're not going to enjoy your training as much. So yeah, like if you are somebody who hopefully has a job or maybe has 2 part-time jobs because you're trying to fund your bodybuilding because it's a pretty expensive sport, it's not the end of the world. In fact, it probably gives you a lot of good structure as well to be able to base your day around like when you need to be in work. Okay, can you get those meals in? Perfect. You've got a 4 hour window when you can go train before work. Little things like that. I know that Lewis, you're probably the same actually in terms of
Yeah.
like working around shift patterns and it's always changing.
Yeah, with regards to changing and stuff like that, like that's a lot of things. Like people will ask you whether it just be like people in general, like how do you do that? And it's so hard to stick to, but realistically, you just find a way. Like
Mhm.
when it comes to stuff like that, with changing shift patterns and stuff, you'll know it yourself. You'll get like clients, Brandon, that will speak to you with regarding of like time management on that sort of front, and it just comes down to just being super fucking proactive. Like when you get your shifts and you're not just like the night before, like, oh fuck, I should have prepped my meals 4 hours ago. You're already ahead of the game and stuff like that. Like right now, for example, I'm gonna need to prep tomorrow's meals after this pod because I need to get up early to start work at 6:30 tomorrow morning. It's just about being proactive and not leaving things. Say not leaving things to the last minute, but you know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
just being super proactive when you get the shift patterns because they give you them like 2 weeks in advance anyway. So it's not as if they just like fuck you with them like, oh yeah, you're working tomorrow, you're working in 4 hours time, cunt. You need to train, eat, sleep, and everything. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's about
Yeah.
being proactive on that front, and it forces you in such a like a structured routine. I do think without the part time work at Argos, I think you're definitely onto something, Butcher. I would be worse off. I think
Yeah. If you had more time to focus
just
on what
solely
you love, you would
bodybuilding.
actually be
Yeah,
in a worse position,
Yeah.
which is
yeah,
funny to think about, but it's all that you would be able to think about.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
you lack that urgency. See, when you have that a certain amount of time to do something, like you will fucking do that. A big thing as well that I get clients to do if they are struggling with this. Again, there's no real excuses if you are a bit good with your time, but a kind of tool you can use. Like, see if you literally like block out your days and hours that you can use an app like Google Calendar, or even just
yeah.
what I used to do as well when I was working is I literally just wrote down what I was going to do, when I was going to do it, all my notes on my phone, and I made sure that anything didn't overlap, etc. And I had time to meal prep, get our meals in, do the work that I needed to do before I started my part time job, etc. And it's just being on the ball with that, and just like it forces you to be more on the ball. Again, like as you were kind of saying there, which is actually beneficial. But something you were kind of touched up on there, like the kind of stress that can come like with that as well is like as I get deeper into coaching, etc. I have more sort of advanced athletes, you may say, people who are more sort of advanced in their process. They're nailing their process already, kind of before they're coming to me, and it's not necessarily a big shift in like what I'm changing in regards to their process. Like, it's little things here and there, but it's simply the stress drop off because they don't have to overthink this, and they just crack on. They do what I tell them. Obviously, we have conversation about things, but see that just stress drop off, and that's the biggest thing that I've learned in this past year, especially with prep as well. Like, that had a massive impact on me. Like, for example, 2 days before MBW, I literally moved house. Like, I moved house. Lois literally helped me move house. And
That was a fucking peak experience, but not at the time frame.
yeah, not at the time. Like, but again, like, I'm not a stressful person, but like, obviously that's gonna have a bit of a cortisol spike. You know what I'm saying? Moving house 2 days out when
Yeah.
I literally like the day beforehand, that is when like I, realized I was gonna move, you know what I mean? So it was a pretty awful time. And again, MBW wasn't the best look on stage, but something as well that you said, we actually had this plan to talk about was, just go into the discussion of financially supporting yourself, through multiple jobs, whatever that may be for you, whatever you may need, sort of how to go about that as well. Maybe if you are aiming to pursue a career in bodybuilding, whether that be coaching or posing, what would be your sort of advice to manage that as well as working on coaching? That kind of just how did you go about that as well? And what was your experience with that before you kind of went full time with the posing coaching?
So for a little background information, I have worked as like a rugby coach. So it's always like part time, it's never full time. Worked part time as like a rugby coach since I was about 18 or 19 years old. So I was like final year at school, started doing that. And it's something I've always done. So initially it was just like on the pitch, then it transitioned to the actual gym and the strength and conditioning side. So I did that all the way up until probably around this time last year. And then I also worked part time at the range. You know the range. Everyone knows the range.
Goat
Yeah,
shop.
Yeah.
Goat
yeah.
shop.
It's a horrendous shop. Do not go there. The stuff is so cheap. Like I used to break things every fucking day.
Mate, they have the most random shit in there.
Mate,
It's like
so
a home bargains type of
Yeah.
beat, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
home bargains, and they try and like make it a bit more upmarket, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's so cheap.
Actually,
Anyway,
but I like going out when it's Christmas time and now like the pure just
Package,
randomest
mate.
decorations.
there was
out
just
outside.
Santa dressed up as like a Hawaiian man. Mate, I was going to buy it, but it was like it was so tacky. I would set it out and be like, "Nah, that's going in the bin." It's shocking. And he would do like a wee dance, a wee hula dance. But anyways, yeah. So I've done the rugby coaching, then I started working there part time, and that was actually before. So that was around when I did my pre prep for my last competition prep. And that was just a way to kind of like, okay, let's start saving a bit of money. Like the rugby coaching's good. It's good pay, but it's taking a lot of hours out of my day because I'm traveling to it, taking the actual sessions, traveling back home. So I'd maybe only get paid for an hour's work, but it's taking 4 hours out of my day. So it was like logistically that's not sustainable. So I was like, okay, I need to get a part-time job, not the end of the world. I'm not going to do this forever. You know, I'll just suck it up and do it. So got the part-time job, started to save a good bit of money. Obviously did my competition prep through that, did my 2024 season while I was still working there, which was interesting. Like as I mentioned, you know, like you don't need to stress about meals, but I was stressing about meals. I was like running to the toilet, trying to hide to eat a meal for 5 minutes, getting caught saying, "Oh, it's for my blood sugar levels. I need an insulin, or I need my blood sugar's low." Just making up absolute bollocks just to be able to have my meal. But anyways, did that and then started the posing coaching. So this was January 2025. So literally, 16 months ago maybe. And that started to pick up quite quickly. So I was working 3 jobs, essentially 3 part-time jobs at that point. And the rugby season naturally ends around sort of March and April. So I was like, okay, that's going to drop off at that point. And then I'm going to have more time to invest into the posing coaching side of things. And it did just kind of happen very naturally where the hours of the rugby came down, the hours of the posing coaching came up. But as you kind of mentioned, Brandon, it was all about just like structuring my day. So I used to break my day up into like 3 or 4 hour blocks. So it'd be like, okay, I've got a 4 hour shift. So in the afternoon, so that's blocked out. I've got 4 hours in the evening. Okay, I'll do posing coaching and take calls at that time. That means I've got 4 hours left to be able to train in the morning. So I kind of just worked about it like that. And then there would be days when I was maybe taking the rugby. Okay, that's dropped off now. Perfect. I've got an extra 4 hours to be able to invest in the posing coaching. And then the posing coaching just kept taking off and taking off. And I was like, I remember I worked like a 4 hour shift and I had to turn 1 or 2 people away for a posing call. And I was just like, that was double my shift, what I've just turned away. And I'm standing here like a dickhead for 4 hours doing something I don't enjoy. And at that point, it kind of clicked and realized if I can maybe just take a step back from the part-time job, focus on the posing coaching, it might not be perfect or like absolutely booming at the start, but if I can invest a little bit more time into it, that will build up. And eventually, a 1 hour call, I'm getting paid more than a 4 hour shift. So that's kind of how it happened. It did happen very naturally. And then it did get to that stage where I was like, I can make more money. It was like my money from posing coaching was exceeding the part-time job. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. And I was also sort of coinciding with the show season picking up. So my shifts, I had to work a Sunday. So obviously shows are on a Sunday. So I was like, okay, well, I can't actually work a Saturday because of other things and other commitments. So I'm going to have to take holidays for my Sunday. And I didn't want to use up all my holidays on traveling to a show. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go. I back myself. I've done this for a good amount of time. I know I'm good at it. I know I can make this work. And yeah, I just backed myself. So I went full time in, I think it was May. Yeah, it was around towards like middle of May, end of May. Went full time and I've been full time since. So
Wicked.
yeah.
I think as well, like it's completely normal that if you are going to go down that route, whether you be your own boss or pursue your passion, a career, like there almost is always going to be a time of imbalance where literally all you're doing is working. And I literally remember I had a few months period where I was working part time, like pretty much almost full time hours in uni, and then also trying to do coaching, content, etc. Doing all that, and just my days were just filled with that. But like you kind of enjoy it because you know that it's working for
It's
your future
working.
self in a sense to
Yeah.
get out of that part time job. That you have a clear goal in sight, and it is pretty fucking exciting.
You can always make it work as well. That's one thing I've realized. Like I've literally, like I've had my hours on double what they are now, and I still made it work, and everything
Yeah,
got like you can always make it fucking work. Like it's so cliched. Like if you want it so bad, I don't want to come across like that. But like it is set in stone. Like that kind of saying goes true. I think where like you literally could work like a full time fucking job. Like as I say, back in like the sort of Christmas period, I was working full time and nothing really slipped like at all
yeah.
with regards to obviously pursuing my own bodybuilding, coaching, and then work didn't slip either. So it's just a case of like you can always do more. I think is the kind of gist of that.
I think as well, see when you're actually productive, like you really underestimate how much you can actually get done in a day. Like me,
Yeah, it's
I put a
crazy.
story up this, and I had like quite a few positive replies to the story. But I was talking about the exam period, and like again, got a lot of clients during the exam period, and then there's some who like feel sorry for themselves, they make excuses, but like and I say to them, what's your screen time on your phone when you're meant to be studying, when you don't have time to do this, blah blah. And they say in your screen time, I'm like, well, there you go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just you can be more productive again, being fucking disciplined, even if you're working from home, studying from home, like treat it as a job in a sense. Like
That's
you
one
have to
thing.
do this at this time.
That's a really good point. It's one thing that I've actually started to do more recently when I have needed that structure where I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and those first 2 hours are for me. Okay. So I've got like cardio to do, steps to do, maybe meals to prep, eat my first meal. That's my time. Okay. So those first 2 hours, I just try not to work during that time. As soon as it hits 7 o'clock, that's when the call starts or that's when I start doing check-ins. Um, and then I'll work until like 11 o'clock. Then I've got a good window where I can go train. So that's like it's kind of the equivalent of my like or other people's evening and wind down time. So that'll be my time to myself. And then in the evenings, I'll do another work block. So initially that was quite difficult, like accepting that I was going to work evenings because that's
Yeah,
always the time when you're supposed to chill out. It's when everything seems to happen. You've got mates, people want to do things. And I'm like, I need to take these phone calls because
yeah.
people need to get booked in. So, um, yeah, it is like about treating it like a proper job. So like give yourself working hours, give yourself hours where you don't do work as well. I think that's important when you can actually try and switch off a little bit. Because recently I've been getting like quite stressed with the posts and stuff, not because it is stressful work, but more so because you always want to give the best service. You always want to be the best. Like knowing that I'm sending out a check-in that's absolute dog shit and information, I can't accept that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let myself do that. So, if you hold yourself to a high standard, you will get stressed out over your work because you always want to give the best for the client, which is normal. And Tim actually gave me a lot of good audio books to listen to on like stress. So I'll actually listen to those in the morning in that like chill out time. And they're working an absolute treat at the minute. So
That's
Yeah.
honestly a big one. I feel like it almost is like, and this is not going to be like moaning or sounding entitled, but like to a certain extent, it actually is easier working like a job where you have set hours, if that makes sense. Like, and again, when you like work for yourself, or you're self-employed or whatever, like I think you need to learn that the hard way, where you overwork, you overreach. You're a little bit burnt out, but then you realize you're working too much. Because again, when there's always something to do. But when you're a coach, a
Yeah.
posing coach, or whatever, like, there's always something. You can always be making content, etc. But learning to just, I've started to literally do like after my fourth meal a day, just try and just don't do any work.
yeah,
That's like my rule now. And I'll wake up at 5:30 and then straight I'm literally after like 30 minutes I'm straight at my desk working. Like I've got my work hours again. I really like also kind of something you mentioned there is actually a training time to almost like split your day in half. If that makes sense,
Yeah.
just to chill out, unwind, and I actually feel more productive. Because see if I didn't do that and let's say I trained, at night, like if I had like 6, 7, 8 hours of straight working compared to splitting that up into two, like I'm going to be so much more productive. I'm going to get so much more shit done as well, and it goes along me.
it's just like taking like a lunch break at work. If
Yeah,
you were to have to work 8 hours in a row, you're not going to be productive. If you were to work 3 hours, take a break, come back, do 4 hours, maybe a little break, and then do some more. You'll be so much more productive. I think the one thing I would mention with the posing coaching side of things and the structure to your day is there's a lot of unpredictability. Like no 2 days for me are the same. Like this Thursday could have been completely different to the last Thursday. Like this Thursday, I've been full with calls. Last Thursday, I maybe only had like 2 or 3. So it's like I will have more free time. I can get caught up on work potentially. Then I can focus more on content if I have those free sort of slots. But I think like accepting the unpredictability has helped. I know that like I can't have that same structure and routine that I thrived off in the past when I worked multiple jobs where it was like I knew I was here at this time, I was here at that time, started work then. Now I'm kind of like, okay, it can change every single day. Just accept it. Okay, I've got a bit of a window here. I can get my meals prepped at that point. And that has helped, to be fair.
Yeah, mate. Like we spoke about in the last podcast about adaptability and how important that is as an athlete, but also it bleeds into all aspects of life. Like you say there, into your business as well. Like if you were just to be super stubborn and be like, I like my routine, then as a trade off for that, your business would probably suffer realistically.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
100%. What I want to kind of talk about as well is like, what does being a posing coach actually entail? So I feel like a lot of people don't actually know, like,
Yeah.
they kind of, like, when I first heard about posing coach, I was like, what does that actually entail? Is that check-in calls, whatever? So, I'm gonna give you a chance just to kind of talk about like, what does a posing coach? What does your days look like? What does your work look like? What does it actually entail?
It's see when I tell people this who aren't in the bodybuilding industry, it's just like their jaw just drops on the floor and they're like, what do you what do you actually do? That is bonkers. So like when I tell them, I actually sometimes try and make it weird just to get a reaction. So essentially I sit at my laptop all day looking at photos of men in their in their thongs and tell them to flex their muscles harder. That's essentially what I do. Now,
Mate.
it is actually a lot more than that. It's about trying to make sure that people present their physique to the best of their ability. So that could be people getting ready for photo shoots. It doesn't have to be bodybuilders. People getting ready for photo shoots who maybe want to engage their abs a little bit better, open their back up a little bit better. Then you do have the people who are bodybuilders, both off season. So maybe they just want accountability and somebody to look over their posing so they don't get sloppy. It's, kind of goes back to people holding themselves to a high standard where they're like, okay, I want to be good at this sport. I'm going to make sure that I do my best and I have somebody guide me to help me become better. So you've got people in the off season, then you've got people getting ready for the shows as well. In terms of like the actual variety of people, like I've got everywhere people from like first timers who genuinely have no idea how to move their body, how to pose, even what the poses are, barely even know what classes and divisions
Fuck,
there
is
are.
that me?
Nah, mate, you were actually pretty decent. Fair play to you. Um, just didn't have a huge amount of muscle, so it was like I was trying to move you into positions and thinking maybe just
Yeah,
needs to grow a little bit
especially
more.
in the Weatherspoons toilets, it was a bit cramped as well.
Mate, it was especially when that bouncer walked in. It was like something going on here. Nah. But yeah, I've got a wide variety of people. But essentially, how it works is, like I said, I will help people present their physique better. So, um, I've got online calls. So people that'll be like a 45-minute session where people want to have that one-to-one contact where they're like, okay, how I'm really struggling with this pose, or I've no idea what these poses are. Can you teach me how to do this? And like a lot of the time, I'll give the clients kind of like free rein of like if they've got something that they really struggle with, I'm going to help them out with that. I'm not going to say no. I think we need to work on this. Obviously, I give my opinion, but you want to make sure that they're happy and they come away from the calls being like, okay, I got something out of this that I wanted to. So I've got those online calls, the 45-minute calls. And then I also do like check-ins, which I think are so underrated. Like obviously, Lewis, you can probably, you know,
Yeah, and
sort of
100%.
do
Even
your
like
experience with
when you were saying there, like my posing wasn't awful beforehand, but I think that's just like people kind of think, oh, my posing's good enough, but
yeah,
good enough isn't good enough though. Like,
that's the thing. Like nobody's wanting to get on stage at like a passable level, like at a 70%
yeah,
C.
yeah, like,
Everybody's competing because they want to be the best version of themselves.
mhm.
So if you hold yourself to a high standard outside of posing, why wouldn't you hold it to the same standard within
Yeah.
posing?
It's literally just another aspect to the process, and like, I think obviously when I messaged you when I jumped off stage a few weeks ago, obviously thanked you and stuff, but like the main sort of thing was just like confidence. Like I was
Yeah.
so fucking confident, like hitting the poses, and that's one of the things that Brandon was saying, and Leo was saying as well. That after it, just you looked confident up there, and I felt confident, and
Yeah.
like that. I don't think that can't be overlooked in any way, shape, or form. I think, and it shouldn't be like a last resort type of thing. Like, oh fuck, I'm a few weeks out. I need to start practicing my posing now. Like
Uh-huh.
it's
It's
just
like
that's like saying like, oh, I've just started prep. I'm going to start tracking my macros. Like
yeah, mate, it's the same thing. It's
it
well, like
actually is.
I've booked my driving test in 2 weeks. I'm going to learn how to drive now. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
That's spot on.
yeah,
nah,
yeah,
that's not going to happen, mate. Like no chance.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
I was literally going to say that though. Like one of the big things that literally separated you on stage was how you presented yourself. Not only with the confidence, but mate, I especially see that front relax, how much fucking space you took up. Like you just took up so much space. And again, when you're posing next to people who clearly have not put in the amount of work that you have been posing, like it's night and day difference. Again, your eye gets drawn to that. Your eye
yeah,
gets drawn to that,
that's
and
that's a
it
really
makes
good
a massive
point
difference.
because your eye and the audience is drawn to Lewis when he's sort of posing. Imagine
Mhm.
what the judges are going to be doing as well when they're actually assessing these physiques.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They are, there's I always say to people like like the judges probably don't score your posing on paper, but they
Mhm.
definitely score it in their head. Like they're looking at you and being
yeah.
like, he
It's the
posed
same with routines
well.
as well. Like you said
Yeah,
that as well in the pod, and I couldn't agree more. Like if someone just came out, you're trying to tell me if someone's routines aren't judged, someone could just come out and lie on the fucking floor, and the judges aren't going to have a subconscious opinion towards that. Fuck
yeah.
off.
Uh,
Yeah.
they build these opinions as you start to pose,
Yeah,
whether
100%.
it's right or wrong, whether you agree with it or not. It's human nature to build these opinions on what you're looking at. If you're a judge,
Yeah.
if you're seeing someone who can't present their physique well, who clearly doesn't give a shite, they're just like, oh, even like people like I'm a hardcore bodybuilder. I don't care about posing. It's like if you're a
Or
bodybuilder,
I'm
you
not
care
going to
about
smile
posing.
or anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bodybuilders care about posing because you care about presenting your physique and making your physique look better. So I don't understand when
Mhm.
people say I don't care about posing. It's like, no, you
Yeah.
don't care about the flow side of things, like creating routines,
Mhm.
fancy transitions, but you do care about how you look on stage and how you look in photos. And that
Yeah.
is what posing is. It's not just creating routines. Posing is like the actual, it's like the essence of bodybuilding. I always say it's like imagine you had a Ferrari and you were entering it in the car show, one of the best cars in the world, and then you just drive it through a load of mud on the way to the car show, and you're like, here's my Ferrari, Ferrari's the best in the world, and they look at it and it's like, no, it's covered in mud, it looks
Yeah.
awful. It's
Yeah.
like it's posing's like that. You can have the best
I like
physique in
that.
the world, but if you can't present it, it's pointless.
100%, mate. And like anything within bodybuilding, it's difficult. Like it is difficult, and
It's
it's a
skill.
skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill. Like, and a lot of the times, like even I'm sure you can relate to this as well. Like you get to the end of like a push session or upper session, pull, whatever it is you're training. That you probably don't exactly, you're not exactly fucking jumping at the bit to go do 3 rounds of posing, but it sure as fuck pays off. Like
Oh,
it's just one of those things. Like it's a non-negotiable. It literally is.
mhm.
Honestly, I wouldn't say the hardest thing, but the most thing that I dreaded every single week was my rest day posing rounds,
Yeah.
because you know what Josh had me doing? He had me holding the front relax for 3 minutes, doing a whole round of poses, holding them for 10 seconds each, and see that 3 minute front relax. I was fucked after that. Like I think I tracked my heart rate every time. That it was like
Mate,
150 plus.
yeah,
It
Yeah.
was
mate,
literally
it's
150
fucked.
plus.
It's
Yeah.
Like it's
really fucked.
hard. It's
Yeah,
tough, mate. And
I used to do them too, and I was just, I can't do this, man.
But
Yeah,
then you
it's
go on
staying on your
stage.
quads. Yeah,
Yeah,
when you
you
go on
go on
stage, it
stage,
feels
mate,
so
and you're
easy.
like,
Feels so easy.
this is
Yeah.
fucking brilliant. They've made me hold it from relax for 15 seconds and then you go to the next pose. Somebody's there who's been practice for 5 seconds and they're like shaking like a fucking shitting dog. They're like,
yeah,
Makes a massive difference.
and judges are looking at that guy and going, nah,
Yeah.
we're not
yeah.
I mean,
rewarding
Fuck
that.
him.
Yeah.
it quite literally is a form of cardio as well, and that's kind of what we treated it in my prep as well. As
Yeah. I think like,
but yeah,
you see, especially on prep, I think there's at some point you get a certain level of excitement to go pose where you're
yeah,
like, the physique's coming in. I've had a new low this morning. Let me see the detail. Like I've
yeah,
definitely got a new line in my glute. But then when you carry that on further and further through prep, legs are more draggy, so it feels more difficult to engage your quads, stay on the quads. Then the physique's flattened off. So you'll hit a pose and you're like, I genuinely have no idea if I'm hitting this right. All my internal cues have completely gone because I can't feel my bicep, I can't feel my lat. Like, it gets to a stage when it is an absolute chore and an absolute slog to get through, but it's so worthwhile. So
Just
worthwhile.
like anything, though, it's discipline. Like, you don't
Discipline.
necessarily want to eat the low food, do the expenditure you have to, but it's the exact same as posing.
Yeah.
It's just a
Exact
part of the
same.
process, isn't it?
Also, like, as you're kind of saying, like, that is a massive variable that is within your control to maximize. Massive, massive, massive. And how much little changes can make such a big difference. And this was highlighted to me because I had a couple calls with Butcher during my prep, and it was like just the littlest things, and it made a massive, massive difference. Again, to just engage in my quads, little things like this, which is kind of what I was struggling with, and it just made a massive difference. Like the smallest cues, the smallest little adjustments, like it generally can go a long way.
It's not even that. You know, the most like common thing I tell people and where I see the biggest results is when I tell people to do less. Like it might be a front relaxed or a side relaxed or a front lat spread, anything. I'll just be like, okay, we're gonna go right back to basics. Just stand here and push your shoulder blades forward. And they do that and I'm like, lift your chest up. Okay, you're in the perfect front relaxed. And they're like, no, I'm not. I was like, you are. You're just trying too hard. Same with the side relaxed. Like doing less often results in more. Side tricep. If you think about actually flexing your arm not as hard and relaxing it and squeezing it into the lat, the tricep doubles in size. And you're like, how's that happened? So it's people trying to wrap their head around that. Like, sometimes you just need people to, or need somebody to look over it and go, okay, we need to actually pull back a little bit, just like a coach would maybe say. Same thing with posing, you need to pull back. You're trying too hard, you're doing too much. Break it back down, it's not working for you. This is what you need to do. So
Yeah, she's about that second eye as well.
uh,
Like especially when you say when you're maybe in the depths of a prep and you're flat as fuck and you can't feel anything, your internal cues aren't really much to go by. Having someone else to kind of keep you in line, because it's easy to be like, oh fuck, I'm not doing this right. I fucking can't do this. I'm just a fucking idiot. Like. Like it is, it's super easy to do that, but having someone else just to kind of keep you in line, and it's the same goes with coaching as well. It's just that second set of eyes that's invaluable.
What you were saying there, that's the kind of thinking about less. That is something massive that I say a lot when I'm reviewing training clips. See the least thinking you have to do to have the best execution, the better. Because again, when you're like, again, that's something I've also learned just as a coach as well. Like, see when you're giving someone so much fucking information regarding every single set of every single session, they're not going to be able to first retain and take all that information in, but two, they go into that next session and they have to think about 10 different things and they're just overwhelmed. Like, they're not able to actually put aggression, take the set load there because they're thinking about all these cues that you give them. Give them one cue at a time. Again, the least thinking you have to do, the better. I think that's a big one there. But what actually got you into posing coaching? So I know you said you started in kind of January 2025. Is it something that was in the back of your mind for a while? Did you possibly kind of help people with the posing? Did you want to get into actual coaching? Coaching athletes to stage, or was it always posing coaching that was in your head?
So like I said, I was doing rugby coaching, so I've been coaching since like 2018. I've always been in coaching. I've always been involved in it. I studied coaching modules at university. It's always something I knew that I was going to go down because I just enjoy coaching. I enjoy helping people and getting that buzz off helping other people and see them do well. So I always knew I'd be ending up in coaching at some point. Initially, I thought, okay, maybe it's strength and conditioning. Did that, enjoyed it, and I was like, I couldn't see myself doing this first full time though. And then I thought about online coaching, and then I coached a couple of my mates and stuff, and I just didn't get that same like buzz for it. I felt like there was almost too much to it. I was like, see, honestly now, if you were to tell me, okay, you've got to do a full day's work and then you've got to sit and review training clips, I couldn't do it. Like, I enjoy bodybuilding, I enjoy training. I could not sit there for hours watching other people train. It's not enjoyable for me. Um, so then I was just like, okay, well, I'll maybe do something to do with coaching. I have no idea what. And then Finn brought it up to me. So he always knew that I liked posing. And for me, posing was just like something that I did. For me, posing was always part of bodybuilding. It was like, eat your meals, train hard, recover, sleep, pose. Like, those were the things that you do. So I loved the 70s, 80s old school bodybuilding, even the 90s when they were actually like, you had Sean Ray and stuff, Flex Wheeler, like they posed really well. That, to me, bodybuilding always incorporated posing. So I wasn't the best of posers myself, but like I could do a pretty decent job, and like I was self-taught. I found little things that worked for my physique to help me pose better. So I was almost like coaching myself in that sort of sense. And then Finn mentioned it to me one time, kind of like as a bit of a joke and a passing comment, and he was kind of like, "Oh, you know what? It would actually be pretty cool." And then it was after my MBFI show, Finn brought it up again, and he was like, "We really should actually do this. Like, imagine you could be part of FK Physiques and help all my clients with their posing." And we were like, "Oh, this could be cool." So we had a serious conversation, had a call about it, and we're like, "Yeah, we're going to do it." And he had mentioned the plan for the plan for rebranding at some point, like in a couple of years. He was like, "This is kind of where I see FK Physiques going." And the more we spoke about it, the more we were like, "It doesn't make sense to wait on natural physique coaching. This needs to be done now." And then that's how the whole natural physique coaching thing actually launched. So originally I was supposed to be a posing coach with FK Physiques, and then FK Physiques rebranded obviously into natural physique coaching, where I became a part of. So that's pretty much how I got into it. And like as soon as I started, or as soon as or finished had that conversation, I was like, okay, I actually need to get help with my own posing to learn more, because I'm just self-taught. So I started with like John and Sammy, like John Lofthouse, Sammy Williams, and they're like posing. It was called the Posing Academy at that point, but they've rebranded to the Posing University. And I absolutely loved that. Like I was going on all these different calls. They were doing educational courses. I was improving my own posing. I was learning different things. And then as soon as I actually started as a posing coach, I was able to actually implement all those things. But there's nothing that beats experience. Like within anything, you know, you like J3U, you could have the perfect J3U course, but unless you apply it and you get that experience from it being applied, it's useless. So I was very lucky in the sense that immediately when we started, it was like, okay, I'm sending all these people to you and you're just going to help them. So immediately I was getting that experience off the bat, and I was building up those hours of practicing my own coaching. And then I just like learned different things. You can almost group different bodies into certain, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like these people have the same body, they move the same way. I know what worked with this person is going to work with that person. And it's just like the coaching eye that you have within your own coaching. So that's kind of how it all came about. And then the more people you work with, the more results you get. And like posing's so easy to get a good transformation from. Like a 5 minute call, like a 5 minute, a 45-minute call, but work for 5 minutes. I can make a ridiculous off season worth transformation, post that, and people are like, whoa. And then
Yeah.
that leads to more clients and more business, and it just carries on from there. So that's kind of how everything came about.
Yeah, that's what's kind of hard about bodybuilding coaching, is because to get results, good results, that's going to
Long
be
term.
months, if not a year plus. You know what I'm saying? It's a results driven business, you know, so that is very hard. But I think what really interests me about all that story, again, lovely little beginning story of the posing coaching there, but something that really interests me is like you didn't actually know what the sort of career would be in regards to posing coaching, but you kind of just followed, you know, your natural interests, like your what actually you enjoyed, and you just
Yeah.
follow down that path, and it kind of almost naturally, the door just opened to the opportunity, and you just kind of maximize that, which is, I think, a kind of lesson to be learned in that conversation there,
I
which I
knew
thought
I
was
knew
very,
it
very
would
interesting.
be I knew I would be in bodybuilding doing something. I didn't know what, but I just knew that it was going to be within bodybuilding. I kind of hoped it would be like professional bodybuilder, but I realized that wasn't going to happen. Or maybe it
Yeah,
will. We'll see after this year. Who knows?
yeah, we'll
But
see.
yeah, it was like I knew it would be within bodybuilding. I just didn't know what. And I think when you work hard at something, doors open for you more often than if you just sit back and go, okay, let's see what opportunities are going to come. Like if you actually work hard and you put the effort in, those doors will open. And when they open, you need to just take the opportunity and just
Yeah,
make the most of it.
you create your own luck
Yeah,
in a sense.
yeah,
What
100%.
I actually wanted to ask you is, what did you do at university? Was it uni you went to? Yeah,
Yeah, I did
yeah.
sport and exercise science. So once again, I
Okay.
knew it was going to be within like training, nutrition, something to do with that. I just did not know what. I just knew I
Yeah.
would be down that path.
I did a similar degree. Well, actually, I did chemical engineering for 1 week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Fuck.
there you go.
Did you get on
Fucking
the
useless.
seminars? Nah.
Nah, I went to one math seminar. I'm like, I'm not going back.
I didn't even make it to the seminars, mate.
Mate, I was like leaving seminars halfway through. We would do like a lecture and then a seminar after. We would go to the lecture, sign in to the seminar, and leave. We would genuinely
I
get
mean,
up and walk.
uni's a piss take with that. Like,
Yeah, it's a
it's
joke.
honestly,
And like
it's crazy.
the course that I did, you would have people coming from like pretty good schools. It's the only university in the country that does sports science. So if you wanted to stay at home, you had to go to that university. So you would get all the really good people, the smart people, the people who are probably going to be doing like some kind of like sports medicine degree or sports medicine job at some point. But then you would also have some absolute, like, I'm not even going to say the words, but they would literally just be there because they played football. That's all.
Yeah.
And the whole first and second year was getting them up to the same level as you. So for 2 years, you just sat back doing nothing, not learning a single thing. So in a sense, it was a waste. But I think I did learn a lot from a final year and going through a dissertation and stuff and how to actually educate myself. I think that's one
Yeah.
of the best things I
I
learned.
was gonna say I actually did learn a lot, not like anything practical.
Yeah.
Like it was actually kind of interesting, like a lot of things that I learned. Nothing that I do with in coaching, but it was interesting. Again,
Yeah.
you just have that kind of extra bit of knowledge that again, when coaches nowadays they probably won't have that. You know, when they don't have go to uni, etc. Just that kind of one up you have in a sense.
Yeah, and like, even just like how you best intake information and that as well,
Yeah.
like through the, and that's only
Life
really,
experience as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
and stuff like that. That's only really found out through like sort of trial and error with stuff, whether it be school, university, and stuff like that. Like I know how I like to learn, and I know how I like to take in my information, and I only know that because of like previous experiences, you know. And I think that's definitely something that will prove valuable, from that sort of avenue.
Yeah. What was your main difference between your first? Actually, I want to dive into the first season. I'm
Wait,
not. I
I
actually
need to
don't
go
know
for a
much about
piss.
that
I'm
as well.
absolutely busting. Hold on.
All
Let
good,
me
mate.
just get
But
this tracking.
was that in
First.
2022?
Yeah,
2022?
that was 2022. So it was
2022.
I was going to say the year after COVID. It wasn't. So it was,
2 years after.
yeah, but there was something in 2021 where there was like still kind of lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
started with my first coach coming off the back of one of the lockdowns, and then things developed from there. And I was like, he maybe mentioned the idea of competing, and I was like, yeah, oh, I'd actually love to do that, but I was scared shitless. So I was kind of like, I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it. But I just
What
said,
age were you then? That first show.
I was 21.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So I was like, this is actually a really good time to compete because I can do a year, see if I like it, have an off season, come back to it again as a junior. So that was always actually the plan. So I started working with that coach, and then things went to pot because of who he is. And he's a bit of a sort of sociopath.
Mm,
But I'm not going to name drop. People know who he is.
yeah.
And then eventually I was like, okay, well, I either make a decision, do I want to continue with the prep, or do I just want to call it? And I was like, I don't know if I want to continue with the prep, but I want to get another coach, definitely, because I loved being coached. So signed up with Finn, said to him, ideally, like I'm prepping for these shows, I would like to do them, but if you think it's best to wait, I'm more than happy. And he was like, mate, you're in a good spot. Let's go for it. So planned out some shows. So the first show was the UK to FBA Caledonian Classic, the Scottish
Oh,
UK to FBA show,
well,
which is no
that's
longer.
no longer. Actually, we're going to talk about this as well. Like, mate, Ireland is fucking more like popular to do shows in Scotland. We have fuck
Yeah,
all over
you
here.
have nothing.
Absolutely fuck all.
I honestly
Absolutely fuck
think it's
all.
because of the whole like UK thing. Like I think within Ireland being in its own, they're like, okay, well
Yeah.
we can just do loads of shows. It's us, we decide. Because you're like actually like, well, I got not to get political, but like you're on mainland UK anyway. So they're like, there's not a WMBF Scotland. There's not a Scotland DFBA, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. There's a WMBF Japan coming out. I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
saw that.
No,
Fucking
be wasn't that.
WNBF everything apart from fucking
Yeah,
Scotland.
Yeah.
I know, mate.
But they fucking they apparently have no money though, and they couldn't fucking pay for my flights out to America. The fucking cheap bastards. Honestly,
That's crazy.
I know. But anyway, your season they're starting with it.
Yeah, so UK to FBA Caledonian Classic. Goal was always to do junior bodybuilding because of my age. But then that was the first year they announced Classic, and I was like, oh well, I love the 70s, the 80s, the golden era. I was like, people tell me I've got pretty good shape. Maybe it's something worthwhile. And Finn was like, yeah, we can go for it. It's good to get more experience, like actually competing and doing different classes. So we did junior bodybuilding. 3 people in my class. It was me, a guy called Dan, who was Scottish, and then a guy called Alex Stevens, who potentially you might have heard of. maybe
Yeah, I
not.
think the name rings a bell.
He jumped on gear like straight after, was working with like evolution training, blew up.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't know if he's going to compete again, but he looked massive. And he was very good. He was coached by Jack Thorburn at the time. And yeah, I ended up
He's
winning that
fucking
one.
massive, mate.
Mate, he's ginormous. I remember being backstage and he had these massive lats, and I was like, fuck's sake. But yeah, somehow ended up winning that one, and I was absolutely buzzing. Then I had classic, ended up taking second in a class of 5, and Christian actually came up to me, so he was judging, and he came up to me, like went out of his way to run and find me and said, "Stick to classic. Like you're what we want to see within classic. Just go away, grow, come back." So that was like really reassuring. It was like, okay, I've got something to work for now. I love classic. It's actually the division for me as well. This is perfect. So did have another show that was the BMBF Northern Ireland, which is I don't think it's happening anymore. Just because there was nobody doing it, to be honest. Ended up taking second in that one. Look was all right. I think by that point I was kind of like ready to call prep. I was like, I got what I needed from the season. Was kind of going through the motions a little bit, but it was good. I got a first and 2 seconds in my first year, so I was buzzing with that. And then went away and planned out to come back 2024, still as a junior in some federations, but targeting like classic physique. And yeah, did pretty well on that one. So should I get into it?
Yeah, I was actually looking at some photos here. I'm
Oh
going to
no!
share the screen here because I
Oh
feel this is
no!
not it's not from this season. It's from last season.
Okay.
But I think people might recognize the competitor you're standing next to here, or they might not. Actually,
Oof.
if you can see that, I've got so this was the
Denmark.
what
Your
Denmark? Yep, Denmark. Yep,
DFNA European Championships. So it was like
nice.
INBA, PNBA affiliated, but the DFNA were kind of hosting it. And that
Okay,
man I'm standing beside is
I've
Zach.
got the photo here. Fucking
Have you
nuts.
got?
I've, I'm I'm sure people know him for his fucking glutes. To be honest, probably just known by his arse. But yeah, that is fucking nuts. Because mate, I didn't even recognize. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know you can be like this. I mean, it obviously looks fucking completely different now, but that was absolutely nuts.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, getting into your last season, so that was also a very successful season with taking the overall at the MBFI, which was
Yep.
I'm sure that was a highlight as well. You know,
That probably meant more to me than the European win, just because of like you always dream about like overalls and like
mhm,
the way everything like happened in terms of like how the peak went, the actual show day. Like it was me, Finn, Healy, Donal, and Jerome all competing in that show, and all 4 of us won. So we all became national champions. I won
nice.
juniors, I won classic as well. So like all of us, that whole sort of like team aspect, all of us winning, just made it so much better. But yeah, that was like that MBFI win. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I was like, no way have I actually won an overall. Um, Shame I didn't get a sword. I got a fucking trophy instead, but it is what it is. But yeah, I was buzzing with that one. And then went on to the UK FBA. Actually, I did a 2 bro show before that as well.
I was actually going to ask that. What was the
Yeah.
show you did with? That was with Yemi and who?
Liam Watson. I competed against Liam
Yeah.
Watson. I competed against Dr. Dean as well, Dean St. Mark.
Did you?
Yeah,
I did not know
he
that.
was
Well,
in my class, so he actually came last. He came 4th,
damn.
and I won that one, and he wasn't too happy. Obviously, first of all, getting beat by a little natural, but I was like 40 pounds under my weight cap on that one, and he was pushing it.
Yeah.
So
I've actually never seen his physique before. I'm actually going to look at it. I'm interested to see.
he's got a good amount of muscle, but he didn't fit the criteria. That's probably what I would say. So yeah, ended up winning the men's, my open class, but came second in the juniors. It was funny because the overall ended up being all 3 juniors because we each won our high class. So it was just a repeat in the overall. So I was like, Liam's won this anyway. Let's just have some fun. We actually ended up going into the crowd as well. And like, it was like,
Yeah, I remember that.
we were up in the crowd. I had like my family there, my nans like sitting down in front of me. And I'm like, oh,
That just looked like
front
such a
row.
sick show. Like that experience.
It was
just
so
was
much
No
fun.
one steps over the fucking line. Never mind.
Mate, it was
Mate,
crazy.
your classmate, everyone just stood on the line. I was going to shout to you like move forward so I can get some nice photos. Everyone just stood still. I was like, so.
Listen, mate, it was won by that point anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was all over. It was all over. But that was an experience doing a pose down in an actual crowd. Like that was good fun, really good fun.
How
Yeah,
was
I've
it as
never seen that
well?
before.
You never seen it?
No, like
Uh,
apart
Not at
from
like
pictures, man.
2 bro shows and like
oh, right, okay, yeah.
shows, but like
What was the experience like competing in an untested show?
Weird, because you know how you shit yourself before seeing other naturals? Imagine when there's people who are like 40 pounds heavier than you, you're getting tanned and
Literally
laying watching
Olympia
you.
competitors.
Mate, I was like, this is just, I'm doing this for a laugh. Like,
But
don't
I feel like it just makes it a little bit more enjoyable in a sense because you're not
yeah,
stressing out your assumption, have some fun.
yeah.
So.
And like, it was one of those things, like, I actually ended up looking pretty good. And like, I think because I was smaller, that kind of helped me, just made my shape stand out a bit more. And the judges loved that. So it just ended up being a fantastic day. And obviously getting my family there to actually see me compete, was a highlight. So yeah, did that untested show, did the MBFI, which was the first main one, and then did the UK to FBA British finals. So that one, I think by that point my training had started to slip. I was just fucking tired. I was like dragging constantly. I was freezing all the time, and when I get cold, I like shrug. So like my traps, my back
Oh.
was just like locked up. So my back training wasn't good because I was just constantly tight.
At what point did you feel that? Like, did you feel like fucked in your prep? How long into it?
It was probably between that MBFI show and the UK to FBA, but I didn't know it at the time. Like you don't
Ah, right, okay,
realize you're
okay.
in
Yeah,
the
you
trenches.
don't
So
really
how
know.
long was
Yeah.
that prep? How long was that prep?
Oh, I think it started maybe end of March, start of April, and it finished middle of October. So I don't know how many weeks that is. Maybe like 24,
Mm.
Yeah.
something like that. It wasn't
Sounds
overly
about right.
long, but it was just the time spent at in that condition, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
That
difficult.
that's more so what fucks you is like how fast, how long you get, and how long you're spending in that condition. We
Mhm.
actually
Yeah.
got a question regarding that, didn't we? You got a question, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a question if you want. If you want, we can transition out of the
Yeah.
questions.
Well, actually, one of the questions as well was we were kind of discussing this before we started, but what is your? This is for yourself.
Okay.
Because I can see as well that you're obviously just starting prep, and your prep's a little bit shorter as well. Is that correct? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're
Shorter until the first shows, but length, total duration is the longest one I hopefully will do. But
okay.
it's based
Okay.
on what shows I qualify for.
Yeah.
So
So the question was shorter versus longer preps. What is your preference for yourself?
I love
Yeah,
a short prep.
yeah.
Like
So
That's
all
my
three of
in and
favorite
us,
out,
call.
all
compete,
three,
get it done.
mate. Like, I mean, Lewis is what he's fucking been in prep for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
Bruv, can we tone this down a bit, mate?
what is it? It's
I,
like 12 weeks. 12 weeks.
Mate, I'm just about to go into my 15th week.
15th.
Yeah, and I'm literally fine.
That's like 4 months. That's nothing. Less
Yeah.
than 4 months.
Yeah.
Mate, but like
I mean,
I'm still yet to see any severe
But
symptoms.
isn't that
yeah.
a good thing?
That's what you want, though. That's
Isn't that a
exactly what
good
you
Yeah,
thing?
want.
no,
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nah, shorter preps, 100%. Like I'd much rather start from a much leaner composition and
Yeah.
have
It
less
just
work to
makes
do.
sense, doesn't it?
On
But
paper, I don't know why
only
people don't
if
do
you
it
can get
more.
away with it, though.
Yeah.
Because some people like are just like, again, they're naturally, they hold a bit more body fat and they struggle to get lean. But all three of us, like, I think naturally we just get lean very fast. Our body likes being lean. Like, again, next season I go into, obviously me and Josh are fucking lean as well. I can get lean pretty fast. And again, I was cooked by the end of my prep. Just how
Yeah.
long I spent lean. But a shorter prep definitely will be the plan of action for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And even like from my sort of standpoint, obviously my first prep with PCA Island, that was the first plans. Fuck me, I'd be hung out to dry if I was well. That was like 31 weeks away. Like I could
Yeah.
literally pull it up on the sheets right now. That would literally still be like a good like 20 weeks away.
I
Yeah, it's
understand
nuts.
why people want to do longer
Yeah, I
prep,
was gonna
like
say that.
lose
I was gonna say that.
slower, retain as much muscle as possible. But like, I think if you can just focus on keeping your training at a very high standard throughout that prep, you're not going to start losing muscle just because you've entered a deficit, whether it's like
Yeah.
quite harsh or compared to like a smaller deficit.
Because I feel like, obviously, again, for the reasons you went over, it's more normal to have a longer prep, which again, I think for a first timer, the majority of people probably will be the kind of the plan. But again, you do not need to. Again, it's very individual. It's very person dependent. Realizing sort of how your body works and communicating that with your coach as well. Maybe if you've just went on board with a coach or you know how your body works as well, that's really, really important there.
Yeah.
A question I got, if you want to go for the
Yeah, no,
question,
yeah,
sure, 'cause
you can. We'll just go
yeah, sorry.
question for question.
Actually, that's a good question. What percent of online coaches do you think are worth it? I see some absolute donkeys.
10%.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
Like,
gonna be.
we're
I'm
on
gonna be
a
so, mate, because you need to
passable
think
level.
about like. What? Sorry.
If we're on like a passable level where it's like, okay, that's acceptable, doesn't mean they're the best. I would say like 10% or like decent.
yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think
I would agree with
even
that.
possibly like single digits, like because
Yeah.
if you think about it, like I see or like I
We see
hear,
far off at shit, and we're
Yeah.
like,
mate,
why are
I
you
have
being trained? Why are you training like that? Being coached by him for this duration of time?
mate,
What is happening in between here?
I've had multiple clients who came to me that have like told me their past coaching experience, and the majority of the experiences are from like top level either
Yeah.
athletes
Top
or top
level,
level
yeah.
coaches
Yep.
or coaches who have a lot of clients and they do not give a fuck. They're just a number to you, you know.
Yep.
And again, like it's because again we don't know how everyone coaches, so it's we're kind of looking
Yeah.
from the outside in a sense. But I do think that it's a hard one because again, like a lot of coaches will be obviously wanting to obviously make the most money and have so much clients, but what comes with that is a massive decrease in the amount of effort, the amount of attention and give to each one of the clients, but more so as well on the other end of the spectrum where people who coaches just generally do not know what the fuck they're doing. They have minimal knowledge and are just given protocols that they've been given, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah, we see some pretty far off at shit on the
yeah,
day
but
to day.
social media is a funky place, isn't it?
JP's is a funky place. But yeah, I got another one. I got a question. What are all your best ways to get locked into a heavy set? So I want to kind of preface this by saying it's your set that takes the most amount of mental oomph. So I'm
Okay.
not talking about like just a blanket heavy set. I'm talking the one, like, because we all have the one.
Yeah,
So
I think
that for me
good
that would be
question.
like a stiff leg.
Yeah.
Like
For me, it's the Cybex hack.
Yeah, I would
yeah.
say Atlantis Pendulum or my RDO. So both of those answers.
Yeah. So the best ways to get locked in. So best ways to get like mentally amped up. I think slower music. I'm gonna go against the grain.
I've
Slower,
got
calmer
two
music.
playlists. I've got if I needed something for that type of set, I've got a playlist that will like evoke the emotion, so slower music where I can like compose myself a little bit more, and then once I've got the arousal level to where I need it to be, then I will put like a heavier song on, like actual like Avenged Sevenfold, Hail to the King, because that intro just gets me going, and it's like, okay, here we go. So
Yeah,
you need
I
something
get you. I
to
get you.
get you to that level, and then something to actually attack the set.
Yeah, I just like my hero Foo Fighters, and then that's just me blasted
I
off to the
just love that
fucking
tune though, so like I'll listen to it constantly, and it just
Hey,
loses that effect.
the like what
I can't live out with that tune. I'll cry, like I'll genuinely cry.
when I have like the best sessions, it's just when my playlist is just fucking
Random.
popping out bangers after bangers
Oh,
after
Yeah,
bangers.
Spotify
I'm just
DJ's fucking on
yeah,
over.
yeah, working
yeah,
overtime.
it's like I'm not even getting emotion. I'm just like, enjoying the fucking music and I'm just enjoying
Yeah,
my session.
Mate, like
But
I
for
had it when like Vamos a la Playa came on, and I was like, oh, haven't heard this in a while, and I was
yeah.
like, yes, going into a hardcore.
mate, Spotify DJ before Lewis's show was fucking coming out with absolute bangers. It was like fucking
Oh, mate,
5:30 in the
on the
morning,
show
mate.
day, on the show day, yeah, it was. Oh, mate, he fucking picked the occasion for it, didn't he?
He did.
They had like
But
insomnia and all that, and
yeah.
free. It was
Mm.
fucking great.
Wait, did you put Florida Scotland on, or was that
No,
the
that was I put
DJ?
Lot Lomond on. I probably put
Okay,
Flower of
okay.
Scotland on as well because Flower of
Yeah.
Scotland makes me want to.
And that would
I
get
was
me going as well, mate.
not for the podcast actually.
Yeah, that would get me going.
Cutting off too much of a demographic there.
Yeah. But I feel like answering the question, there's multiple ways in certain
Yeah.
sets, or just
Yeah.
how I'm feeling is also going to dictate. But see if I need to like this set or like a place where I need to get as much sort of fucking oomph as possible. Like I'll just kind of put on songs that sort of have like a deeper meaning that
Yeah.
connect me to maybe emotional times in my life or emotional, you know what I'm saying? Just like things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
no,
that have a
I
deeper
agree with
meaning.
that. I agree with that.
I would say I actually Josh talked about his YouTube video and like that's what he was talking about is like he picks music like he literally I've literally seen Josh multiple times training at Poly back in the day literally like crying before I set. Like, and after it, I just had to give him a few times because he literally just, like, got a song on. It got him so fucking emotional. He was getting after during the set. And sometimes, like, I'm not saying that's necessary or needed, but you know, when you're able to tap into that emotion, like, fucking hell,
Yeah, it
you're probably
works.
going to make a
Whether
lot of
it's
progress.
needed or whether it binges you or whatever it does to you or not, it fucking works.
Again, it
I
is
don't like
very
doing
fucking
that.
taxing.
I don't.
You like
Yeah,
doing
I
that?
don't like doing that, but I have done it before. And
Yeah, every now and then.
I don't like doing
every now and then.
it anymore either. Like, it fucking wrecks me. That would bin me.
100%.
You need
100%.
deload every other fucking day, but like,
Literally.
it does work.
Mate, in my off season when I was like training with Josh, like, that would be me every week, and I cannot even express how fucking wrecked I was after every single leg session. Like,
Mate,
I could not do anything.
I used to get so stressed trying to think about how I'm going to like progressive overload the mental arousal. I'm like, what am I going to think about this time?
the problem is it needs to be
It's
sustained, because if you set
100%.
stupid numbers, you can't sustain that unless
You've
you
only
put
got so many family members that can die in a fucking house
Mate,
fire. You know what I mean?
I've got a small family. Like
Literally.
I'm an only child. Like I'm running
You
out of
run out
food.
pretty quickly.
That's why I don't use it. I've got nobody really left, so it
Yeah.
doesn't work.
It's a good talk. Actually, Tim was talking about that Peak in the Real one episode. They're talking about the
The
dead
dead family
relatives.
members thing.
which
Yeah, I found that was pretty
that.
funny. Yeah, him and Jack.
Right. Next question. One thing you would do differently in bodybuilding if you could start over your journey.
I just want to preface this. I rolled my eyes at something on my phone, not actually the question. So
I didn't see any.
I proper went like I rolled my eyes at this, not the question. If there's one thing you could change differently about bodybuilding,
No, if there's one thing you would do differently in bodybuilding if you could start over your journey.
I honestly think it would be like nutrition. I feel like I just didn't understand food until I was like
the exact same.
20, 21 years old, and I started training at like 15.
The thing is, like, I made a lot of progress out of the gates when I started with Josh because I just trained like a fucking animal. But at that time, my nutrition was fucking far off it. There's far off it.
yeah.
You know, I was following the macros that Josh would give me, but I was just fitting in with like whatever I wanted, really. Just and it generally was from a lot of it was a lack of knowledge. You know, it really was, and like I was a very quote unquote fussy eater. You know, I didn't really like. You know, I literally had minimal, if any, fruit or veg in my diet. You know, I was literally, I was like that.
I was like scared of vegetables until I prepped.
Shitting every
and
5 days.
Oh, these are actually banging.
Prep, I can't even express. Prep has changed me to a different human being when it comes to food. Like I can eat anything, and my variety of my diet is like completely different than what before prep as well. It's crazy.
It does like with food touching and stuff like that. It genuinely does change you. Like my spring onion, banana, and kiwi. I fucking look forward to that every single day.
Mate, the thing is, I used to have such a like negative viewpoint on food before prep. Like prep is actually a positive experience. A lot of people, you know, struggle with food focus. See, when I had food focus, I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like I'm not experiencing.
Give me an onion, and I will bite it like an apple. Imagine how juicy that onion would be. Like that's the level I got to. I fucking hate onions. Absolutely despise them.
Oh, I love an onion, man. Yeah, next question. Butcher, you might laugh at this one. Best advice for someone trying to bring up their back as a whole is
Is that who asked that? Was that Jake Barris by any chance?
No. Graham Brown training. He trains at JP's sometimes.
So it's a serious
flexion
question
as well, I believe. Realistically, best advice: you want to grow your back, literally do it all. Fucking row and pull down in all different fucking sorts of angles. You'll cover all bases and you'll grow. I think it's just, it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. I don't think.
The one thing, actually, that's a good point. The one thing that worked for me is just not overthinking. Like, just doing movements, like not stressing about, oh, this needs to be the perfect sagittal plane pull down or whatever. Just fucking do a pull down, do a row, get strong, connect to the muscle. I think
I would say that connection, I think, is big.
I think you do, especially with the back, you do need to place a little bit more emphasis on the actual connection. Because there's so many other things that can take over.
I think a big thing as well is like just because a certain movement or a certain way of training works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Someone who has can very easily connect with their back can do absolutely any sort of row, and I'm sure their back will grow. For others, it's just not the case. It's just not the case, you know.
Yeah, it's just that individuality again. Like sometimes I find myself with back movements for clients putting like a higher rep set first, get a bit more blood in the muscle, so then they can feel it. That internal connection is built on, and it's almost kind of easier heading into the next sets. And I find that I find that's been pretty positive, to be fair.
I do like cable pullovers as like a primer for my back because it warms me up well.
I was going to use the exact example for chest training. Like, for example, if someone has a big chest, 99.9% of the time they'll have some sort of pec fly before they go into their pressing movements, and it makes a massive difference. Like, as well.
Yeah. Mate, my chest is grew through prep though.
Mate, it's like it looks a lot better in prep.
Mate, do you know my granddad went into some protein shop, right? And he was showing the guy that I just won the competition and stuff. Mate, do you know what the guy said? This actual, like, I was sitting at the dinner table at my grad's house ready to flip the fucking thing. The guy says, he basically says that my chest is shit. Like, mate, I know. But he said, do you want to know why he said my chest is shit?
Why?
Because I'm not eating enough proteins.
You just try to sell his protein to him.
Yeah, I heard that, and like, obviously to us that sounds so fucking retarded, but to like my grandparents, like that just sounds like general gym chat.
Yeah,
they're like, oh mate, this guy knows the secret, mate.
I tried to explain to them that that's like saying like your car's like crashed, fucking wrote off, just put some petrol in it, mate. Like, that's like, it's honestly like
that is fun. That is fun.
Yeah, that's how to grow your back. That's a good question as well, actually, from Mr. George Werrell. That's a thing that Scottish people.
He's looking good as well. He just started prep.
Yeah. He's got a lot of muscle. Thoughts on the trunk pull epidemic?
So I actually got a message from Christian about it.
Christian
PCA or about like people hiking up the trunks.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, he hates to say it, but I think this is the thing. I do it, but I don't do it excessively because I get my hook just so that my hands can actually like get into my side and stay there. But people will do it and they will literally go like that.
Yeah,
it does look horrendous. It does.
I actually think I think it makes my waist look a little bit less blocky when I do it.
Yeah, it's the same reason we have the trunks sitting on top of the hip and not below the hip. You know, if you can build the trunks a little bit more up,
that better flow,
it improves that V taper 100%.
Yeah. So, but I actually think the trunk pull epidemic is
epidemic.
Yes, I thought it's like the coronavirus. What's like, like it's all right, but just don't rip it.
Yeah, don't take it.
Because I pull my trunks up on my front lat, on my rear lat spread. Like I do that, but I don't rip the cunt out of it.
Cunts just rip the piss out of it nowadays, man. We can't have it.
Yeah, we've answered the questions about from Shane McCall, but we've got a better one from Shane McCall, a little beyond the process number. Scotland versus Northern. If I could fucking speak today, I've got no prep symptoms, but I can't fucking speak.
Let's say NI.
Scotland v NI, double vodka-thon. Which team is the last one standing?
Right, okay, let's generally think about this logically. Okay, let's think about this logically.
Right, so, mate, we have got me, you, Leo Hamilton, Josh Campbell. Noah's going to save us here.
Yeah, again,
Noah's a lightweight. Noah's a lightweight.
Okay. Compared to me, I'm bringing the average way down.
Yeah, no,
way down.
Jake would bring our average like all the way down.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't drink, doesn't he? Not.
I don't.
I say that as if we just.
Mate, we need to get Jake Byers fucking pissed, man. Jake Byers will come out with he'll be the most like racist, wrong person ever, mate. When he gets a bit of him.
Yeah, because he's already so blunt and objective as the way it is. Could you imagine him with a fucking step of alcohol?
You'd be looking after him all night and being like,
you need to
just like Aswa.
You need to
just like Aswa, the first natural physique me up.
Yeah.
Me, I was literally like 50 kilos. No wonder fucking alcohol actually had me by the scruff of the neck like that.
Yeah. That was fun. Mate, you were actually a child then. Like, I was like, seriously looking back at photos like you and Finn.
Yeah, that check that transformation out, man.
Yeah. Any more questions before we round this off?
That is the last of them, mate. I had a guy asking me to reply to his DM regarding my used trunks. I mean, you can have the green ones if they want. They stink of fucking tan. They're awful.
What you need to do is just reply with like your bank details and just see if he sends any money. And just,
Yeah.
He said as long as it's not over £1,000, and I messaged back 900.
999. Right,
Yes.
last segment of the podcast.
Yeah.
Most fun. Oh, actually, we've got 2 more segments. Sorry, then we'll wrap up quickly. But most fun of it thing in a week.
Oh fuck.
I need to come
I've got a good
prepared,
one.
mate.
I've got a good
What is
one.
it?
Today in work, right? So there was meant to be a Pokemon launch today, right? You would have seen my close friends.
Oh yeah.
They were queuing outside at 20 to 8. So we were like, people that are in my work were going out to the shop, like to the newsagents across the road, like in between, like they were just going out before the shop had opened, and they were standing there. And they were asking about Pokemon, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know about the Pokemon stuff. I'll probably just be in there." So they knew fine well the Pokemon shit wasn't going on sale. So they kept them there for like an hour and a half plus. Opened the doors just to tell them they're not getting sold, and they were like so fucking raging. Like
Fuck yeah, now.
that was pretty far off. I thought.
Do you remember when I used to work in Braehead, there was a JD there, and the panda dumps,
the panda
like
dumps,
every
yeah.
single, like I don't know how often it was, but mate, the queue for them was diabolical. Like diabolical. It was absolutely insane. The most far off thing I would say is spending money in Pokemon Go.
Listen. It gets me off the walking pad. I barely ever use the walking pad because I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just go get my eggs hatched and
Oh
stuff.
mate, the weather's beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah, like
nice.
especially if me and Ellie can just like get up in the morning and just go a walk, and we'll spend the first 20 minutes a day like just us before I like crack on and just sit down.
And it's like bright outside as well.
Yeah,
Mate, I've been
People
sitting outside my
happen.
front garden working away, and it's so bliss, mate.
Mate,
so
I've had
bliss.
to sleep now with my fucking pit stop beanie like over my eyes. Like it's that bright when I'm trying to sleep. Like it's fucked.
What,
And
do you
I
not
take
have,
it off in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
And I'm
I'm
like, is it still light? Yeah.
Is your curtain like no?
I don't have a curtain, mate. Like
You don't have a curtain? Fair
no,
dues.
I just
You need
have
to get a
like
curtain, mate.
yeah, I know.
It's
Mate, there was
hardcore.
a wasp in my room the other day, and I had to get my dad to get it. It was fucking peak.
Mate, I've got a couple of dead wasps here that I leave out as like a warning to the other ones.
That's crazy work. That's
Mate.
fucking crazy. There's
Mate,
record NPS.
No way to go pick one up.
Bro just
Right.
picked up a dead wasp. What the fuck? What the fuck? This video's getting taken down, mate. There's fucking dead animals in the podcast.
Oh, mate, the stinger come off.
What the fuck?
It's like
Wait,
falling
so
off.
do you kill them?
Yeah.
Well,
With
just
what?
like fucking whack it.
Yeah, just get a barking stock and just
There it is. Fuck.
You get the bucking stock if you don't stay on your quads.
Right, I think that's a great way to round this
Yeah.
off, because I need to eat my cream and ice and head to bed.
I still
very
got
much.
meals to prep and a fucking meal to have, man. The 9-hour sleep opportunity is not happening. Not happening.
God damn. I love how every single Inside the Process podcast episode, it gradually just gets a little bit more beyond the process, and
it
then
does.
we get
It
there.
does. It's always inevitable.
Absolutely mega. Right, I would very much appreciate you coming on, mate.
Thank you.
Where
a
can
very
people
good
find you? Where can people find you? Obviously, Butcher Natural Physique Coaching. Plug away, mate.
Yeah. Instagram, butcher_natural physique. If you want to inquire for posing coaching, you can click the link in my bio. That takes you to the type form. It'll say coaching or posing. You just click posing, and it literally just all you do is put your info in that. That'll take you to my WhatsApp. Send me a message so that I know you've applied. If you do send me a message on Instagram, sometimes they get lost, or sometimes the request don't show up. So I might not see it. So just apply through the link in the bio. Click the link in the bio.
Link in bio as always. Anyway, follow along for Butcher's prep. You're starting prep on Monday, aren't you?
Start prep on Monday. Yep. So
Let's get it. So look out for the prep. That is all. Thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you next week. Goodbye.